Yes, I mean, and you can find it. You can find the full thing. But they're talking about zombies. The Department of Defense is working on plans on how to combat zombies. The military's been hollowed out. Yeah, its brains have been hollowed out. Are you kidding me? We need $700 billion. No, you don't. Get away from me with that. Are you serious? We need $700 billion. You know, I was watching Life, Liberty, and Levin. And maybe some people will be surprised to hear me say that. But I like the show. It's long conversations. It's not bobbing back and forth. It's not argumentative. It's a nice Sunday show. And although I probably don't agree with Mark and a lot of his guests all the time, it's a nice show. And this week they had on Gary Sinise. And for those of you who don't know who that is, he was Lieutenant Dan in Forrest Gump. And since making that movie, he's really gone out and he's done a lot of stuff to support the troops, support wounded vets, all vets, police, fire department, a lot of these great people. And he was just kind of telling some different stories about a guy who's, is a, quadra amputee, because of what happened to him over there. He has no arms and no legs now. I think he has.
The Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, May 15th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.32 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,303 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $31, and the average price of Bitcoin is $8,763. Antiwar.com reports pro-Saudi forces announced on Monday that the large-scale military operations against the northern port city of Hodeidah have begun and that the forces intend to continue advancing north until victory is achieved. Hodeidah is the lone seaport under control of the Shiite Houthi movement and by extension is the only port through which humanitarian aid can flow for the entire northern half of Yemen, a vital humanitarian location which to pro-Saudi forces is a vital military target. Successfully conquering Hodeidah would, after all, mean the Houthi territory, including the capital city, and many millions of people would have no access to food or medical aid. This would be an opportunity for the Saudi invading forces to really crack down on them. Saudi-led forces have been massing just south of the city and say that while the city itself is not the immediate goal of the invasion, it is the eventual point of the operation. The liberation of Hodeidah is seen as a potential breaking point for the Houthis. They envision it forcing a surrender, but it could also bring many millions of malnourished people into outright starvation. This is a known fact, with the UN Special Envoy warning about this for weeks. Still, Saudi officials have been desperate to break the stalemate in the war and have shown little concern for consequences to civilians. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals, and as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the Seattle City Council unanimously approved a tax on big businesses to help alleviate the city's growing homelessness problem and a lack of affordable housing. The tax, which has been unofficially nicknamed the Amazon tax, named after the online retailer which is headquartered in Seattle, will affect businesses that generate annual revenue of $20 million or more, according to a Seattle Times report. Those businesses, about 3% of all businesses in the city, will have to pay an extra $275 per full-time employee each year over the next 5 years, at which point the tax will expire. The tax is expected to generate nearly $47 million, which will be used to build 591 low-income housing units by 2023. The original tax proposal was nearly twice as high, but the City Council chose to approve a thinner version of the proposal. Amazon is the city's largest private employer and will pay the most under the new tax law. The company lobbied against both versions of the tax proposal. Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spendabit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spendabit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co. Reuters reports sports fans on Monday shrugged off a U.S. Supreme Court ruling that could open the door to legalize sports betting, saying it would likely have little impact on baseball, basketball, and football games already subject to off-the-books gambling. The nation's top court struck down a 1992 law that widely outlawed gambling on college and professional sports, calling it unconstitutional and likely touching off a rush by gaming businesses and states to cash in on an expected multi-billion-dollar industry. A group of hockey fans gathered at the Red Rock Casino to watch the Las Vegas Knights take on the Winnipeg Jets in the NHL playoffs saw the legalization of sports betting as having little impact on the Las Vegas tourism or gaming economies. Experts, however, caution that illegal gambling was likely to disappear just because sports fans could make legal wagers and that professional sports leagues would likely take a cautious approach. George Belge, a marketing professor at San Diego State University and co-founder of the school's sports management MBA program, said that on the one hand, the major sports leagues would welcome the television viewers that gambling could attract in a time of declining ratings, but would be leery about damaging the integrity of their sports. Major League Baseball said in a written statement, "Our most important priority is protecting the integrity of our games. We will continue to support legislation that creates airtight coordination and partnerships between the states, the casino operators, and the governing bodies in sports towards that goal." This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Publicists everywhere agreed this week that the nation's celebrities are in dire need of more fame, stressing that all 6 billion of the world's populace should know every U.S. celebrity by name and face by now. Publicists are calling for an emergency influx of buzz, heat, press, and word of mouth to be administered to the nation's celebrities immediately in order to prevent crucial fame levels from becoming dangerously low. Novelist Edward Milligan told reporters this week that in his new book, By the Water's Edge, he has fleshed out in meticulous detail his own huge and stunningly shitty world. Using in-depth research and the power of his own imagination, Milligan was able to conjure out of thin air every hackneyed character, trite street name, and horseshit backstory in the fictional town of Connors Cove. The complete hack proudly said he has created a universe that readers will feel they can actually reach out and touch. Sources say the prolific writer has not yet been punched repeatedly in the face. In other news, McDonald's opens a new senior citizen play place.
This is the Onion News Network.
The Call to Freedom is an opinion show. It's meant for informational purposes only. It is not licensed financial advice. It is very important to do your own analysis before making any investment based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with or independently research and verify any information that you hear from the Call of Freedom and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. I mean, come on, guys. Duh. It's a cryptocurrency investment and a political talk radio. Of course, it's opinions.
Computers are online. I'm gonna start loading software.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Call to Freedom.
Broadcasting live from Vertcoin Studios on LRN FM.
You're listening to Will.
You will listen to every damn word I have to say!
And Aria.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Stay tuned for political talk and everything crypto. That's right.
Broadcasting internationally on our BitPlus Network satellite.
This is
The Call to Freedom.
All right, let's boot it up.
That's right. Welcome here to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. We are broadcasting live here from the Vertcoin studio here in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire. I am finally back from Minneapolis, Minnesota. I went to speak at the Republican Liberty Caucus.
Oh, that's right. How was that?
It was interesting. It was great and disappointing at the same time. A standing ovation from the audience, which is awesome. But 3 other Muslims showed up. Nobody from Care, Minnesota. None of the people that are constantly harping about how Republicans should do this and reach out to Muslim, basically the people that are constantly pissing and moaning, none of them showed up. And the left-wing media that did show up was some head-shaved, 20-year-old, gender-confused girl, and she wrote an article that evidently was so bad that it was retracted by the local newspaper before I got a chance to read it.
Wow.
Well, the title of it was...
Bad as in poorly written or bad as in negative?
I mean, standard operating procedures
I'm sure it was both.
in newspapers tends to be poorly written or any kind of
Well, no, the title
work.
was...
my experience.
The title was about Republicans hold convention in den of their favorite villain.
What?
Yeah, that was the title of it. And I'm like, really? A Republican caucus came to the Muslim community and reached out a hand and said, look, we want to take our party back from the Trumpkins, and we know that part of doing that is reaching out to the Muslim community, and we're here to do that. And the left-wing media's response was to mock them.
How dare you not, come speak at the Democratic convention?
I don't know, maybe because they've literally never invited me, and because the only time you ever get invited to a Democrat convention if you're a Muslim is if you're willing to rah, rah, rah for the candidate that they're trying to elect. And they knew very clear that, they announced me as a former Libertarian Party vice presidential candidate, which means they acknowledge I'm not a Republican, and they still invited me to come and give the keynote speech at their event.
It's kind of surprising. I really wouldn't necessarily expect that unless, of course, there's no Republican speakers that they could get that are Muslim.
Well, it also makes sense for them to be buddy-buddy with libertarians so that they can kind of, pull in the libertarian crowd because we end up a little bit closer to the right.
Well, this is a Republican Liberty Caucus, so this is they're the confused conservative, usually the one that's like, I
get it.
Yeah. So, but it went really well, and you guys can hear. We've got my 3-year-old here, who is just not keeping.
I'm
her
not sure
into
they
the
can
deal.
actually hear that.
Oh, really? I can't. So I figured
I can, but just only a little.
Yeah.
Oh, can you? Okay. Yeah, I was gonna actually. I bet you that if we move this.
No.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
there she is.
Yeah, that's muted. And as we move that microphone further away from her face, she just turns up her volume because that's what little kids do.
As you would hope that a 3-year-old would do.
Yeah, well, that's just the way things go. It's okay though. So for some reason I can't. Oh, I'm on airplane mode. I've got a laptop here for them. So anyway, the big story today everybody's been talking about is the death toll in Gaza.
So what happened? What happened with that? I haven't actually kept up on the news, with what's going on. I know there's some vigil going on tomorrow, and
we've been covering the story for weeks now. And
I didn't realize it'd been going on that long.
Oh yeah, it's been going on since we've been covering it since March now, haven't we, guys?
Yeah, it's been going on for years, right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah. I'm aware of the many. Was it generation now? At least a few.
Oh yeah. Today is actually the anniversary of what they call the Nakba. So that's I think it's like 60 some odd years now that it's been going on. So
you want to give a little bit of history about it?
Well, we actually have an article here that we're going to get into that will cover a little bit of that, but it will also it's okay. Basically, and this is coming from Britain. This is what Britain themselves admit. Britain wanted to destabilize the Ottoman Empire. They wanted to redo the conquest of the Crusades and take back Jerusalem, blah, 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 conquer it and colonize it with Europeans. And that's exactly what they did. So
we have them to thank.
Then they acknowledge it. They and the BBC completely and totally acknowledge the fact that they started this, that the very first suicide bombings that were done by Jewish nationalist extremists who were trying to dislodge the British from the from the, where they from the occupation, I guess. But they're occupying too.
Occupation of what exactly? The Israeli area or some other area?
Of the Holy Land.
Oh,
they felt
okay.
the Holy Land belonged to them.
And this was what, in the 1950s?
40s.
40s, okay.
This is immediately after and during the World War II and the Jewish expulsions from Europe and all that stuff. And you literally have former Israeli prime ministers who talk about how their fathers walked from Russia with a Bible in one hand and a rifle in the other. So like they making it clear that they weren't there. They weren't coming to just, buy a house. Coming with a Bible in one hand and a rifle in the other, that has an implication, that we come with force as our intention.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of where it starts and just goes downhill from there. The British created the mandate and said, this land is not yours anymore. They took the Arabs offered a certain amount of land to start with. They were like, look, you can have this much land. And they were willing to just give it away for free. And instead, they had to give up what the UN said to give up. And the UN came in and basically created a country through colonialism. And that was the last, basically, because after that, it was basically ruled by international law. You can't create colonies anymore. You can't have, that's why the British Empire is gone. It's because everything's a commonwealth now. There is no more colonialism. But we had to let one more European colony happen, and that was the forcible European, because most of these Israelis are Europeans. The forcible European colonization of the Holy Land. The head of the British Army, as he wrote in, said, today we complete the Crusades. So, and everything since then has been built around religion. We can't have justice in the region because the evangelical Christians believe that Israel is unquestionable, and if you question them, then the United States government will burn to the ground. I mean, and that's literally what they believe. Without, this isn't hyperbole. This isn't exaggerating it a little bit. If anything, I'm actually downplaying it a little bit. It's an absolutely insane ideology that says that if you don't allow a certain portion of the world to be basically genocided, then God will hate you. Which totally makes complete and total sense.
All right, so
we've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
The 3 most important things you can do for LRN.FM are: 1. Let your friends know you're listening to LRN.FM on your social networking profile. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.lrn.fm. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm. It's my firm belief that the AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented groups. Support all your favorite organizations, but make sure you give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM. Unasikiliza wito wa uhuru katika LRN.FM.
All right, welcome back here to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. So we're broadcasting live from the Vertcoin studio right here in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire. I am sweating like a whore in church.
It is hot and humid in here.
It's hot and humid.
goodness.
It is. It's hot and humid in New Hampshire.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
That was
You guys have jokes.
New Hampshire's supposed to be nice and cool, during the summers, but it ain't nice and cool in
Complaining
here.
about the heat. Are you kidding?
Seriously.
I'm dying over here, yo.
It's like 1,000,000 degrees here with a humidity of 86%.
All right, do you guys have do you guys at least have air conditioners where you are?
I have an AC, but also it's super
nothing
mild.
here has central heat and air. There's no such thing as
AC
central heat
here.
and air here.
Well, that's
the houses-
your guys' own fault.
All the houses were built in like 1799 when there was no central heat and air. So
all of them,
All of them.
including the one you're in right now.
yes, actually, the one I'm in right now was built in 1819.
So
No, it was not. Are you serious?
I'm serious. It used to be the slave house.
Oh, fun.
Not the slave. It used to be a big steel mill. There's a picture of it over at the Cheshire
Really?
Oil place. It used to be
So
a great
this
big
is interesting. I did not
steel
know
mill,
this.
And back when slavery was still legal up north. And the house that we live in is where the master used to stay. So we live in the Massa house. And now it's a
Oh
mosque.
my goodness. That's
I think it's
awesome.
funny. I think it's hilarious that we turned a Massa house into a mosque.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
right? Talk about reclaiming something. It's like they literally beat Islam out of the black slaves when they came over on the boat, and now we own their house. It's kind of, you have to admit, that's kind of funny.
It's good. It's good.
So, anyway, the as I said, the big story today is 60 reported dead so far, including children. Yes, 8 children, including a little baby that died of asphyxiation from chemical gas tear
Isn't
gas.
that supposed to be like illegal? Like the militaries aren't supposed to be using that?
Oh well,
isn't that the same thing that we bombed? Was it Syria over?
Well, there's
Yeah.
there's the rules that apply, and then there's America, Israel, and the United Kingdom, which is and Saudi Arabia now has been added to that list, which is the people that
Double
the rules
standards.
don't apply to.
Yeah, we got double standards.
We rule the world, so it's like the whole thing with that. You remember the guy? He got arrested. The video's been all over Facebook. The guy got arrested because he left his car idling, but the cop that while he was in the store, but the cop that arrested him left his car idling while he was arresting him.
Ah, very good. Of course. Wait, since when is it illegal to leave your car idling?
Oh, it is.
In California, it's illegal to leave your car idling. It's in a lot of states.
And
it is now.
It's a lot. Yeah, that's New Jersey. It's the same thing, I believe. I don't know.
Climate change.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think the diesels. It's more particular to diesel like trucks, but I guess they're doing it to
cars, yeah.
civilian vehicle or.
It's a city ordinance.
Gas cars.
It's a city ordinance in the city of San Diego that you are not allowed to leave your car idling. You know, the San Diego climate change liberals, and now those same liberals are like, "How dare you arrest him for violating a law that we wanted people arrested for? That's racism."
Oh, that's fun.
They totally aren't putting two. And the worst part is they don't put two and two together, even when you spell it out for them. I was on Twitter the other day, and I'm like, I see the thing, I see the story, and my reaction is, stupid liberal nanny staters will learn one day.
No, they won't.
That if you don't write these stupid laws, there's no reason for cops to shoot black people.
Yeah, no, they won't.
And they got called a racist.
Well, they can't put two and two together because they learned Common Core math.
They were like, "You're a racist," and I'm like, "I'm a racist for what? What about that statement makes me racist?" Acknowledging
doesn't
logic and facts.
It doesn't. You're not encouraging cops to shoot black people. That's not what you did. They're misinterpreting. They're twisting your words into something that's not, and then calling you a racist for it.
If you stupid liberals stop pushing for these laws, there'll be no reason for these cops to harass these people. It's your fault as much as it is the cops.
Essentially, what you're doing is you're calling out the cops for being racist, which they are.
But they can't see it that way because I'm also attacking their laws that they love. I mean, and that's well, they could have just gave him a warning. That's what makes it racist, is they didn't give him a warning. Bro, that's not the way laws work. They don't always give you a warning, Sometimes they give you a ticket, sometimes they arrest you. If you don't want the guy to get arrested for it, then you don't make it an arrestable offense.
Yeah, They will. They usually will give you a warning because it's harder to get a conviction if they don't tell you to stop something first. At least that's been my experience and what I've been told by lawyers and such. But yeah, I mean, they can absolutely arrest you and basically do what they want, regardless of whether or not it's going to succeed in court. They arrest people all the time for stuff that they don't have a case. But that doesn't stop.
Well, I mean, isn't the idea behind the law
arrest.
that it's fair and universal, and that it's not the prerogative of the police to choose when to enforce it and when not to?
No, that's the excuse the judges will give you too.
Well, no, it's supposed to be prosecutorial discretion. And there's multiple levels.
Why do we even need the law then? Why not just have police with the authority to decide what is and isn't acceptable on the spot, and then they can arrest people or not as wanted?
That's basically what we have now. I've seen guys.
I mean, yeah.
I saw a buddy of mine, old roommate, was a public defender for felonies in Marion County, Florida, in Ocala. You know that video that you see going around online right now of the cop giving mouth-to-mouth resuscitation to the dying black baby that he pulled the parents over, and the baby was dying, and they're like, "Oh my God, the boys are blue, yay for you!" Okay, that police department. They arrested this kid. He had gone on somebody's porch that had a screen door and knocked on the door when he had been told not to be back at the house again. And they had a trespass against him, like he'd been kicked off the property. And he went back and went on the porch and knocked on the door. They charged him with aggravated burglary of a dwelling.
What?
Right? Instead of simple trespass. They hit him with 2 felony charges.
For knocking on the door.
They should have just charged him with not entering.
Yes.
Just make that a crime.
He opened, because like down there in Florida, there's a lot of the they call them Florida rooms, or they're screen rooms, and you go into the screen room and that's where the door is, and you knock on the door from there. And
but there's like it's closed off screen or something.
Yeah, so they charged him with burglary.
That's insane.
Yeah, and I mean he got him off, but still, that's how that kind of discretion works.
That's why I'm always.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment, walking down the street, to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, or paperback, or an audiobook of A User's Manual for the Human Experience.
Yesterday, 2 groups of men shot at each other near Bagram Base, where I am. Today, the soldiers are happy about some of the men dying and sad about other men dying. Sergeant First Class Aaron Tomlin is only sad about 4 of the dead people.
It's a long, tough day here. We lost 4 good men.
No, 27 men died. 4 American soldiers and 23 Taliban soldiers. You said that 4 soldiers die and it makes you sad. But you said when Taliban soldiers die, it does not make you sad. I asked Base Commander David Hawkins to make it make sense.
The last thing we resort to is hurting anyone. But you have to understand, it's our job to keep the American people safe from our enemies. And sometimes that includes...
So if you kill your enemies at your job, it is not sad.
Well...
What if I killed my enemy Ryan at my job? It would not be sad?
No, you shouldn't do that.
But he is rude to me. He steals my yogurts. He makes fun of the way I talk.
Look, only soldiers can kill without getting in trouble.
Okay. Are you going to kill Ryan?
No.
It does not make sense.
This is the Onion News Network.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom live on LRN.FM. تستمعون إلى نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.FM.
All right, welcome back here to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. So I'm joined in the studio today by our tech whiz, Mr. Chris Wade from Think Penguin. And we've got Miss Aria Demetsia from cryptocurrencycheck.org and Chelsea Snyder from the Vora Method. And, well, we started out trying to get into this story. It is a particularly disturbing story about 60 civilians killed after it's basically protests at a border fence over many things. You know, you've got the 1948 Nakba, which was, 60 years ago, 70 years ago? 1948. That was 60 years ago.
These people have some long memories.
Yeah. Well, I mean, 750,000 people militarily displaced from their homes who were never allowed to go back to their property.
Yeah.
That's 2 generations ago.
Yeah.
You know, like we have people. I have a guy that goes to my mosque. His parents were driven off of their farm by the Nakba, and he now lives in the U.S. and his parents now live in Jordan. And you know, you still have people that there are refugee camps with over 1 million people. You have 5 million from the 750,000 that were initially driven off their land. There are now 5 million refugees.
Wow!
Because of the descendants, you know.
So, not to sort of ask like the obvious question, but obvious question here. Like, why didn't at some point people just be like, all right, cool, like Britain clearly did this to mess everything up, so let's just go ahead and like undo this now, and everybody can just
no.
Like, why is peaceful cohabitation like so impossible?
People have to give up their land then that they have wrongly taken, but they would have to give it up.
Well,
we just still don't have to shoot peaceful protesters. Like, it seems like it's
you don't know how this. You don't know how this system works. And this was the intention of what they did in the first place.
Yeah, and what you just said will get you labeled a Nazi. I mean, okay, I'll put it like this: it's so bad that in 2011, I think, Rand Paul said, "I think since debt and all these things are a big deal to the GOP, what we should do is we should end all foreign aid to all countries. All foreign aid to all countries. Because if a country doesn't have enough money to pay its own bills and is going trillions of dollars per year into debt, then that tells me we don't have...
AKA us. That's us.
We don't have $4 billion a year to give to Israel. We don't have $1.5 billion a year to give to Egypt. We don't have $750,000 a year to give to the Palestinian group Fatah. We don't have money to give Pakistan. We don't have money to rebuild Iraq. We can't pay to build bridges here. And 5 Democrat senators filed a resolution to publicly denounce Rand Paul. They called him a Nazi and said that he was advocating for a second Holocaust.
Wait, what?
Yes. 5 Democrat senators.
Because one party is not willing to pay for the defense of another party, that's supporting a Holocaust? That's not the same thing at all.
Saying that we shouldn't fund Israel in perpetuity.
That's not saying that you support another Holocaust.
Well, the logic is sort of like, if we don't give them the money, then they won't have the ability to defend themselves, and then the other people will come and try to kill them all.
I'm sorry.
If we don't give them money, then they're all dying.
Israel is not a poor state.
No, it is the 6th largest economy in the world.
It was at one time a state which could not defend itself.
But I believe most of the Iron Dome has been funded by us,
nuclear.
right?
They have 55 65 nuclear warheads. I think they are completely capable of taking care of themselves.
Yeah, if this was any other state, they wouldn't be able to afford the nukes, right? This is Israel. They are a wealthy country that should be on their own. They should not be receiving aid from other countries.
Well, not only that, but settlement incursion is condemned and threatened with war by any other state. Look at what happened with Russia and Georgia when people there said, please come in. We threatened to nuke Russia.
Wait. Sorry, what is this?
In Georgia.
When did this happen?
This was when George Bush was in office. The end of the Bush administration.
Really?
The whole thing was going on at the very end of the Bush administration during the same year as the Obama election when he first got elected. Okay. There was the cast lead. That was one of my arguments was because there was nothing being said about Israeli settlements during cast lead because people were there were thousands of people killed during cast lead.
It seems like a really bad idea to threaten nuclear war with a country unless they have initiated that in the first place.
But Bush was very aggressive toward Russia when Russia went into Georgia, and Georgia had asked the people in that region of Georgia.
He could have been aggressive regardless without the use of nuclear weapons or threat thereof.
Look at Obama with Ukraine. The efforts to keep Russia out of Ukraine when in the areas where Ukrainians want Russia. Well, that's colonialism. It's settler. You can't have that. Blah 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 blah. But there's just like this extra set of rules. Most people don't realize about Rachel Corrie. Teenage girl goes over there. She's standing in front of a house that's about to be bulldozed to build a settler home. A family had been turned out into the street out of their home, and an Israeli bulldozer just drove over the top of her. Wow. American citizen, Presbyterian. She was labeled by the American right and left as a Hamas supporter and a terrorist sympathizer.
I mean, it doesn't surprise me.
And that's why there was no response whatsoever from the American government.
I'm always amazed at how the media manages to twist and turn anything and everything they can just to get a few,
again, it's back to the whole
clicks.
You want the predominant culture to support your news show, and you want them to watch. And if you don't support Israel, they won't watch. Not only that, but there are groups that are literally they take that $4 billion a year that we invest in their country and use it to invest in censorship programs in our country so that we can't criticize their government in our media. You can't
propaganda that they pay for.
You can't be a senator in the U.S. and when asked what your position on Israel is, say, I'm a senator for America, not a senator for Israel, and win re-election. Because if you do, and I know this because it's happened, the entire apparatus of AIPAC and camera will come after you to paint you as a Nazi, and you will be primaried in your own party and replaced. I'm looking right now, and there's like 4 Democrats. I'm like, yep, you guys are going to have a primary the next time.
And this is why I'm not a Democrat and not a Republican. I'm not on the left. I'm not on the right. I want out. I just want to stay out of that. There's just so much nonsense in politics, and it's not even necessarily just on the right and the left, but it goes to this ridiculousness extreme that anybody should be able to see right through at least half the time, but people ignore it.
Yep. Now, the story here of what's going on today, there were demonstrations on Monday, which coincided with the opening of the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem. And they were marked by a level of bloodshed not seen in Gaza since the 2014 war. I love how they call it an open-air prison was air bombarded for 4 days, and that was the war. They call it the war with Israel, the Gaza war with Israel. Doesn't there have to be a military on the other side for there to be a war?
Yeah,
you would think. So.
Yeah, not some guys like with maybe a handful of Russian Kalashnikovs, no military infrastructure, no tanks, no bombs, nothing that they didn't build in the sink. versus the best that the American military-industrial complex has the ability to build.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
Don't worry about things you can't control. Isn't that what they always say? But it's about impossible to avoid worrying about what's going on these days. The government has used the war on guns, the war on drugs, and the war on terrorism to tear our Bill of Rights to shreds. But you can fight back. The 10th Amendment Center has proven it, racking up major victories. For example, when the U.S. government claimed authority in the NDAA to have the military kidnap and detain Americans without trial, the nullifiers got a law passed in California, declaring the state's refusal to ever participate in any such thing. Their latest project is offnow.org, nullifying the National Security Agency. They've already gotten model legislation introduced in California, Arizona, Oklahoma, Missouri, and Kansas, meant to limit the power of the NSA to spy on Americans in those states. We'd be fools to wait around for the U.S. Congress or courts to roll back Big Brother. Our best chance is nullification and interposition on the state level. Go to offnow.org, print out that model legislation, and get to work nullifying the NSA. The hero Edward Snowden has risked everything to give us this chance. Let's take it. Offnow.org.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Did you know you can listen to LRN.FM via our free-to-air satellite channels? We have channels over nearly all of North America and much of Africa. All you need is an affordable receiver and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you are a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage maps and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm. sat.lrn.fm.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Angel Clark, and you're listening to The Call to Freedom on LRN.fm.
All right, welcome back here to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. And we've been talking about the biggest story really in the world today, the bombings and the sniperings. And I mean, we've been covering this for a few weeks. Basically, the Israeli military lost its effing mind today and yesterday. You had protests that were marking both the opening of the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem and the 70-year, well, the Palestinians refer to as the Nakba, which is loosely translated to catastrophe. So let's see here. Protests were planned as residents attended funerals and prepared to mark the anniversary of Israel's founding, known as the Nakba. Crowds at the border were thin after the organizing committee for demonstrations called for a day of mourning to bury the dead from yesterday. Many of them succumbing to injuries in the middle of the night, according to local health officials. Monday's killings more than doubled the number of Palestinians slain in Gaza during 6 weeks of demonstrations dubbed the March for Return. Now, basically what's happened is people in Gaza and Palestine have figured it out. The American government doesn't give a damn about you unless you just stand there and let the Israeli military shoot you without doing anything in return. Anytime that you do anything...
And you can't write any poetry.
Anytime that you do anything to resist the occupation, you will be labeled a terrorist. Your blood will be made worthless. Your life will be viewed as forfeit. That's pretty clear. And it's a clear message that it only took them 70 years to figure out that fighting back against your oppressor will only make their supporters support them more and condemn you. So even this, a peaceful protest that's lasted for months, was labeled by the Trump administration as a Hamas propaganda event.
Wow.
More than 2,700 people injured, half of them from live ammunition. At least 6 dead were under the age of 18, including a girl whose family said she was 14. An unidentified doctor told the Associated Press that a baby, Layla Rabin, had a pre-existing medical condition and that she died after inhaling tear gas at the main protest area in Gaza. One more person was killed in demonstrations on Tuesday. Speculation was rife that crowds were thinner because Egypt had pressured Hamas to order people home. Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh was summoned to Cairo on a last-minute trip. Sunday night, the senior leaders were noticeably absent from Monday's demonstrations. Egypt controls Gaza's southern border, which opens only sporadically, while Israel has blockaded the country with territory the territory for the last 10 years. Ahmed Yusuf, a senior advisor to Haniyeh, said that it was likely that Egypt warned Hamas to prevent any escalation. Says that Hamas may have secured some short-term concessions from Egypt in return, such as sustained opening of the Rafah crossing with Egypt, which has been open in recent days to allow people to flee from, Israeli aggression. This is the minimum that they can ask. Israeli officials, however, justified the military tactics as necessary to stop Palestinians from breaking through the border into Israel, which blockaded Gaza after Hamas took control of the enclave 11 years ago. So for 11 years, Gaza has been under a medieval type siege. That's right, 11 years. So please tell me about the generational post-traumatic stress that 11 years in a medieval siege-style situation.
This is an ongoing, it's interesting. I was talking about earlier how people have long memories. It's not, because the issue has been continuing on all of these years. So the people whose fathers got killed and, relatives were not even necessarily killed 60, 70 years ago. We're talking about being killed in this generation even. So I could see why this is
Every country must protect its borders. Netanyahu wrote in a tweet.
Oh, of course he did. Of course he wrote that.
So, I mean...
But do you have to protect somebody else's, not even a border? I mean, because it's, again...
Well, not only that, but where is it the United States' responsibility to pay for it?
So do we have any evidence that the Palestinians were actually doing anything that would be like an actual threat? I mean, is there... Like, I don't know. I mean, in America, we get a lot of like videos and stuff lately. Do they just like not
care
have cell
anymore?
phones?
Yeah.
They just don't film things? Do they not put them up? Like, is it restricted?
The accusation is that they were
YouTube?
trying to storm the wall.
They keep it out of the.
But like, I
Western
can't
media,
imagine
too,
that there's
probably.
not at least one video in the entire universe of people not storming the wall and then getting shot. Like, that has to exist somewhere, right?
There's tons of video of people getting shot just protesting in a big group, walking 900 feet from the wall.
They're not gonna, Western media is not gonna publish this kind of stuff.
God,
You're gonna have to
no.
go to YouTube or probably maybe even another source because
But
YouTube might be taking
probably
it down.
won't have it because,
They'll probably take it down.
Yeah, YouTube's got that whole thing with Israel now, and so does Facebook. Facebook and Israel both, and YouTube both have like a deal with Israel.
Isn't Mark? Who's a Facebook person? Isn't he Jewish?
Who?
Facebook.
Zuckerberg?
Yeah, Zuckerberg.
Does sound like kind of a Jewish name.
Yeah, I think he might be. Anyway, no, that doesn't necessarily mean anything, but
we're all just we're terrible people. Anyway, but so YouTube and Facebook now have that deal where like stuff critical of Israel is quickly taken down. Wikipedia as well.
Yeah, he was raised in a Jewish household.
Yeah, Wikipedia as well as when Wikipedia started hiring there was a call put out by the Israeli government for people to go get the job. When YouTube created their like in-house censorship program, there was an all call put out for pro-Israel activists to go out and get those jobs before the pro-Palestinian activists did.
Interesting.
It's a propaganda war.
What's the population difference between Gaza and Israel?
Gaza is the size of like Keene downtown.
Oh, is it really?
And it's got a giant wall around it.
Wow.
And
Israel's got a lot more people than that, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but Israel has a military.
Yeah.
Like planes, guns, tanks, gasoline, electricity, running water, those things. Whereas Gaza has none of those things. And because according to quote unquote international law, Israel is required to provide electricity and water to the region of Gaza, that also means they have the ability to turn it off and on.
Do they
wow.
They do regularly. They do it all the time.
I remember reading some stories about how Israel like flips a switch and just to punish them, basically. Yeah.
They've done it because they flip the switch on them because of like going to the UN instead of going to Israel to get to the UN, stuff like that. Like, oh, well, you didn't.
Isn't the UN notoriously pretty anti-Israel, though?
No, God, no. That's the reason why Israel has never been brought up on any charges in the UN. Israel has never had any resolution in the UN that was enforced.
It wouldn't even matter because isn't the UN controlled by like 4 countries or something like that? It's U.S. What is it? United Kingdom.
The U.S.
France,
has the ultimate veto vote.
And Canada. Maybe?
If the U.S. says no, then the answer is no, and the U.S. always.
Yeah. The UN is not. When you talk about who owns the world, right? It's like one of like 4 or 5 countries because veto power, basically, at the UN. So
the U.S. has ultimate veto power.
Yeah.
And anytime Israel comes up, they bust it out.
Yeah.
So, a good example would have been one of the last times that we covered this story. When they said anyone within 900 feet of the wall, even if they're a 3-year-old child playing with a dog, put a bullet in their head. And Nikki Haley stood up and cheered it and condemned anyone who would question it, because that's what the American government now stands for in your town.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Stouffer's, helping bring your family together with wholesome dinner options, even on the busiest of nights. Find dinner table ideas to bring your family together at letsfixdinner.com. To get kids involved in dinnertime conversation, ask specific questions, not broad ones. Instead of what happened today at school, try what was the best thing that happened today. The more specific you are, the more they'll have to say. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
More of the Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, May 15th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.32 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,303 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $31, and the average price of Bitcoin is $8,763. Antiwar.com reports pro-Saudi forces announced on Monday that the large-scale military operations against the northern port city of Hodeidah have begun and that the forces intend to continue advancing north until victory is achieved. Hodeidah is the lone seaport under control of the Shiite Houthi movement and by extension is the only port through which humanitarian aid can flow for the entire northern half of Yemen, a vital humanitarian location which to pro-Saudi forces is a vital military target. Successfully conquering Hodeidah would, after all, mean the Houthi territory, including the capital city, and many millions of people would have no access to food or medical aid. This would be an opportunity for the Saudi invading forces to really crack down on them. Saudi-led forces have been massing just south of the city and say that while the city itself is not the immediate goal of the invasion, it is the eventual point of the operation. The liberation of Hodeidah is seen as a potential breaking point for the Houthis. They envision it forcing a surrender, but it could also bring many millions of malnourished people into outright starvation. This is a known fact, with the UN Special Envoy warning about this for weeks. Still, Saudi officials have been desperate to break the stalemate in the war and have shown little concern for consequences to civilians. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals, and as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the Seattle City Council unanimously approved a tax on big businesses to help alleviate the city's growing homelessness problem and a lack of affordable housing. The tax, which has been unofficially nicknamed the Amazon tax, named after the online retailer, which is headquartered in Seattle, will affect businesses that generate annual revenue of $20 million or more, according to a Seattle Times report. Those businesses, about 3% of all businesses in the city, will have to pay an extra $275 per full-time employee each year year over the next 5 years, at which point the tax will expire. The tax is expected to generate nearly $47 million, which will be used to build 591 low-income housing units by 2023. The original tax proposal was nearly twice as high, but the city council chose to approve a thinner version of the proposal. Amazon is the city's largest private employer and will pay the most under the new tax law. The company lobbied against both versions of the tax proposal.
Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spendabit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spendabit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co.
Reuters reports sports fans on Monday shrugged off a U.S. Supreme Court ruling that could open the door to legalize sports betting, saying it would likely have little impact on baseball, basketball, and football games already subject to off-the-books gambling. The nation's top court struck down a 1992 law that widely outlawed gambling on college and professional sports, calling it unconstitutional and likely touching off a rush by gaming businesses and states to cash in on an expected multi-billion-dollar industry. A group of hockey fans gathered at the Red Rock Casino to watch the Las Vegas Knights take on the Winnipeg Jets in the NHL playoffs saw the legalization of sports betting as having little impact on the Las Vegas tourism or gaming economies. Experts, however, caution that illegal gambling was likely to disappear just because sports fans could make legal wagers and that professional sports leagues would likely take a cautious approach. George Belge, a marketing professor at San Diego State University and co-founder of the school's sports management MBA program, said that on the one hand, the major sports leagues would welcome the television viewers that gambling could attract in a time of declining ratings, but would be leery about damaging the integrity of their sports. Major League Baseball said in a written statement, "Our most important priority is protecting the integrity of our games. We will continue to support legislation that creates airtight coordination and partnerships between the states, the casino operators, and the governing bodies in sports towards that goal." This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish a TV show where I travel across this great nation eating pork in every one of our 50 states. Join me on my cross-country odyssey as I make our forefathers proud, reveling in life, liberty, and the pursuit of pork.
You can really taste the cooked pork.
This stuff is fantastic. I'm a big salt fan. Let's pork! We're tasting prime pork dishes in every state in the union, and I couldn't be more excited for this once-in-a-lifetime tour. You're going to be right here with me, seeing everything I do and watching every pork I taste. I'm Jim Haggerty. You know me as the host of Today Now, but I've also eaten in a ton of restaurants. Now I'm heading out on the road. My mission? Find the best pork our country has to offer.
Watch Jim Haggerty's Porkin' Across America at youtube.com/The Onion.
This is the Onion News Network.
The Call to Freedom is an opinion show. It's meant for informational purposes only. It is not licensed financial advice. It is very important to do your own analysis before making any investment based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with or independently research and verify any information that you hear from the Call of Freedom and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. I mean, come on, guys. Duh. It's a cryptocurrency investment and a political talk radio. Of course, it's opinions.
Hold. Hold. Hold.
You better hold on for dear life, because it's time for the Crypto Hour, brought to you by Helium.com, on the Call to Freedom.
All right, welcome here to the Crypto Hour here on the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. We're in the studio right now with our tech guru himself, Mr. Chris Wade, and the queen of crypto from cryptocurrencycheck.org, Aria DiMezzo. And, well, our lead story today is, it comes from CoinDesk. And, not CoinDesk, Cointelegraph. William Suberg says Bitcoin could emerge as a threat to the U.S. dollar in the future, according to the St. Louis Federal Reserve chief. A top U.S. policymaker made mostly positive remarks about Bitcoin, also not ruling it out as a potential threat to the U.S. dollar in an interview with CNBC yesterday. Speaking to CNBC on the sidelines of the Consensus 2018 conference in New York on Monday, St. Louis Fed President James Bullard also identified positive aspects of cryptocurrency, namely revolving around cutting costs in trade.
Definitely.
He stated that crypto is facilitating trade that would not otherwise occur. Some that's illegal, but some of it that is avoiding cost that would otherwise be there. Asked whether Bitcoin was a threat to the U.S. dollar, Bullard voiced uncertainty about the potential competition the leading cryptocurrency could pose, saying, "I don't think so at this point. We don't know what the future's going to hold. My idea is that there's a lot of currency competition going on right now." Bullard, meanwhile, continued on the topic of dollar supremacy, adding, "The dollar has been the winner historically because it's backed by the largest economy and a relatively stable policy in terms of low inflation. And that's going to be tough to beat." Low inflation? What planet does he live on? Seriously, the value
I too like to do a bunch of crack before speaking publicly.
Right?
Wow. Oh.
What planet is he on? The value of the dollar's dropped like 93% since the creation of the Federal Reserve. No inflation at all.
At least.
You know what? He's right. We don't have inflation. We have stagflation. We have inflation coupled with stagnating wages that has continued since the early 80s.
Yeah, I'm amazed. It's kind of humorous, talking about how, we've got, the opportunity. He's so right about how we have opportunities to reduce the transactional cost of doing business.
I had a guy send me $900 from Pakistan. It cost like 13 cents. That would have cost us so much money, plus FBI background checks, and it was so much trouble just because he's like, my dad died. You have a mosque. I want to buy something for your mosque. And I was like, we're about to put a new floor in. And he was like, how much is it? $900. Here you go.
Wow, that's awesome.
And it was done in 5 minutes. It would have taken us a week to get that done.
Yeah, So we've got a customer, my company Think Penguin, where we sell computers and stuff, and we have a customer in Sweden, and he had some issues with. So Sweden outlawed, I don't know if outlaw is quite the right word. No, they didn't outlaw it. It's not quite the right word. But basically, the government won't accept, in order to pay their taxes, they won't accept cash in Sweden anymore. So he wasn't willing to use a credit card, even though he placed the order with a credit card. So the goods are now coming back to us. Anyway, so I'm thinking of a different customer. Anyway, different Swedish customer. Anyway, the point is, he wouldn't use a credit card maybe it was the same customer, but for a different order. But he doesn't want to use a credit card. Is basically what it comes down to. So he went and he did a wire transfer. $61 it cost for a $115 item. Now, you want to know the transactional costs if you had used some sort of cryptocurrency? Probably less than 3%. And that's only if he needs to exchange his kronar for the cryptocurrency. If he's receiving the cryptocurrency and then spends it, 0% basically. Maybe a cent if he uses Dash.
Yeah.
Maybe 40 cents if he uses Bitcoin. But it would have been significantly less.
Yeah.
That's the type of transactional costs that people don't understand that get built into the products when we're using the traditional banking systems.
Yeah.
And credit cards are terrible too. What was it? I think I was talking about the other day about how it was. So I think we figured it was like 12% increased costs in many cases, between 3% transaction fees, 3% for credit card chargebacks. So a fraud basically. As a result of using credit cards. If you use cash, you don't have that. If you use cryptocurrencies, you don't have that. And I'm trying to think with the other 6%, but we managed to double that basically because, I know why. Because certain countries are like Sweden, I think it was the one we were talking about, they're trying to outlaw cash. That hasn't been done yet, but if it were to go through, that means many small businesses would be purchasing, $10,000, $15,000 worth of merchandise, and potentially having to use a credit card to do it because depending on sometimes you can get away with that, not doing that kind of thing. But if you're a small business, in many cases, you don't have a choice depending on where you're buying from and so on. So that then doubles that 12% to 12%. You're basically your overall increased costs. So yeah, absolutely. Cryptocurrencies are definitely the way of the future. And it's mostly because of the banking system and governments that are increasing the cost of doing business significantly. And there's already other significant costs like taxes.
Right.
So,
continuing on here, says, on the topic of blockchain, Bullard was more openly bullish, saying, "We think blockchain technology is very interesting, and we want to be very engaged and thoughtful as this proceeds." He also responded to a question of whether or not the Fed was considering issuing its own cryptocurrency, saying, non-committally, "We can certainly look at that possibility, and there are different parts of the Fed that look at all kinds of applications of blockchain technology, but I wouldn't say that there are any plans at this point." The comments continue the trend of general crypto support from the St. Louis Fed. In January this year, the Reserve Bank published a dedicated paper titled, quote, "A Short Introduction to the World of Cryptocurrency," in which researchers forecast that it was likely that Bitcoin and altcoins would emerge as their own asset class. So, I mean, that's probably the most positive thing I've heard come from anyone in the Federal Reserve. At least they're not like, "It's the devil, Bobby! Bitcoin is the devil, Bobby!" Where's Aria? Did she fall off?
I think we lost her.
Oh, she's there!
I'm here.
What do you think, Aria?
Well, I think there are some hidden costs in cryptocurrencies that we're ignoring, like the fact that, you have to have an internet connection, you have to have a device capable of running a wallet.
This is trivial. This is trivial. Go ahead and finish what you're saying.
No,
I'm
it's not.
I'm going to counter this one.
That's not at all trivial.
Okay, keep going. Keep going. Are you done?
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Okay, so
go ahead.
Okay, so I'm just doing my math here, and I was doing it a few minutes ago, and I came up to conclude now this is partially government, but so for a $20 item, okay, our cost basically goes for $175. That's the end cost that the consumer has to pay because of transaction fees and taxes. You cannot tell me that that's not utterly ridiculous. And we're not even talking shipping costs here. And we're not talking taxes. I don't even think that was including taxes. You can't tell me that that's not absolutely ridiculous. And the few cents that you're going to pay to conduct a transaction, or the amount that it's going to cost you to exchange between your kroner or a dollar and...
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com.
If you're looking for work, you know the math. There are many more applicants than openings, so you need to stand out, not blend into the blah, blah, blah your interviewer is hearing from your competition. Here's a tip. In your interview, you will be judged more by the questions you ask than the answers you give. Yes, do anticipate the obvious job interview questions and prepare concise, insightful, glass-half-full sounding responses. And you should interview your interviewer. Seem genuinely curious about what will help get results. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. You want to cut through the clutter. For more tips for job seekers and making all the other conversations you have more productive, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Join Daryl W. Perry on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio as he brings you news, views, and opinions while promoting the ideas of peaceful interaction.
The FBI or CIA or NSA or any other government agency could also go to the FISA court and say that we want information on anyone associated with anyone who is under investigation by the FBI. If they could somehow connect you, my listener, to me, then you could possibly be subject to investigation by the FBI, the NSA, the CIA, or any other government agency. Not because I directly am under investigation that I am aware of, but as a donor to antiwar.com and knowing that they have been investigated by the FBI, then it's very possible.
Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
You are listening to the Crypto Hour on the Call to Freedom, brought to you by Helium.com. Unasikiliza Crypto Hour inayohusu wito wa uhuru, imeletwa kwako na Helium.com.
Welcome back here to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. And it is the Crypto Hour, as you heard on the way back in from commercial. And you know what? As we were going out, we were talking about, well, you know, there's that thing, you know, a lot of people talk about. What happens if you've got crypto and no internet? Well, hold on. Before you... That's a perfect lead into the next story, because when I found the story we were talking about before, I was actually looking for the story right here. So that was a perfect segue. GoTenna. I don't know if you've ever heard of them before, but GoTenna has launched a Bitcoin wallet, and it works without the internet. You see? Now, this is from CoinDesk. It says here, if James Bond needed to use Bitcoin on a secret mission in a jungle, well, he probably couldn't drop by a local Starbucks to use the Wi-Fi. And since internet connections aren't always available, reliable, or private, cryptocurrency users need an alternative way to connect to the network. So the New York-based startup Gotenna, founded in 2012 by Brazilian siblings Daniela and Jorge Perdomo, is partnering with Samurai Wallet to launch an Android app this summer that allows users to send Bitcoin payments without an internet connection. Announced Monday, the TX-Tenna app will enable users to sync up their mobile with a Gotenna device. Costs $179 per pair. Then toggle the wallet app settings to transact offline and send the Bitcoin. You need to be able to spend your Bitcoins even in disaster area, Gotenna engineer Richard Myers told CoinDesk, citing that Perdomo's siblings' recent work in Puerto Rico, where Gotenna devices helped people reconnect after Hurricane Maria. As long as you have a way to charge your phone, you can be up and meshed and communicating. The signal needs to be within roughly a mile of another Gotenna device to relay the message across the mesh network. A decades-old system for using the internet without Wi-Fi or a landline. So far, Gotenna has sold more than 100,000 devices, and that lets users tap into the mesh network. If the offline Bitcoin user is within a mile of another active device, the transaction can bounce across the mesh until it reaches a user with an internet connection. It offers an alternative that is more censorship resistant, Myers said, adding, it's going to be obscure who you are and where you're at and when you're making these transactions. That's a big privacy advantage. This system uses a free, unlicensed radio frequency, and it isn't the first partnership to explore such a potential for cryptocurrency networks. Stepping back, a variety of projects since the Cold War have used relatively cheap and mobile radio setups to broadcast across firewalls and oceans. Last year, renowned cryptographer Nick Szabo and blockchain engineer Elaine Ou, I think that's how you pronounce OU, published a proposal detailing how weak signal radio transmissions could help boost security and the diversity of connections across the Bitcoin network. Then in December, after the U.S. Federal Communications Commission repealed the net neutrality bill, fans of Ethereum, the world's second most popular blockchain network, started flocking to mesh network technology meetups. When net neutrality rules expire next month, internet service providers will no longer be barred from favoring or blocking specific websites and communities. It's an appropriate moment for censorship-resistant tools for Bitcoin transactions to be released. Perhaps the most important aspect of Xtenna is that the cryptocurrency wallet will be an open source project. Indeed, it was Samurai Wallet's open source communication tools on GitHub that first inspired Gotenna's team to reach out to the Bitcoin startup. The same TX-Tenna code could theoretically be applied to iOS wallet applications as well. As Myers explained, it absolutely could work with any software wallet, and the Samurai Wallet developers are not writing it specifically for Samurai Wallet anyway. It will be something any wallet provider could send transactions through. So there we go. There's a solution to the whole, well, what if the Fed shut down the internet? Screw them. Make your own.
Yeah, mesh networking is cool. It's coming along. I know that. I have to wonder.
When are we setting when are we setting up the Liberty Mesh Network here in New Hampshire?
Oh, so there's already been talk about that. There is a plan of action for Manchester. Now
we should be able to do it here easy. There's enough of us here.
Yeah, there should be.
It's a small enough area. Me and Chris will be way out there carrying the signal outside of town.
Yeah, I mean, and you know what? You can actually connect mesh networks. Now, it's not a great way to do this if they shut down the internet, but you can connect mesh networks using the internet. So two different communities can be connected. And there's also other ways to potentially connect long distances. there may be some issues with the terrain around here, but yeah, it's certainly doable. I think bigger issues are actually down to government regulations over the airwaves that could be hindering things. I don't know. I'm curious how they went about doing the go is it Go Antenna? How's
Go Tenna.
Go Tenna, yeah. How they go about getting the range. So unlicensed frequencies are 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz. I wonder what other frequencies they might have and how they're actually able to pull that off.
Yeah, they're saying like a mile.
Yeah, a mile is a pretty good distance. You might be able to transmit a mile at with small amounts of data.
What about a radio show? What about watching Netflix?
Yeah. So
what does everybody on the Mesh Network watching Netflix?
Not going to work.
Okay, well then there's definitely some work that needs to be done because most people watch. There are peak times. Most people watch during peak times. So peak times are going to be. There's going to have to be something in Mesh Network technology that acknowledges and deals with the peak times issue.
Yeah, there's finite bandwidth.
Oh, I didn't. That's never mind. The bandwidth?
Yeah, there's a finite amount of bandwidth. So, but the technology is getting better. So, there will be more, space available at some point.
So,
but I mean, the more bandwidth we have, the more we use. Websites used to be really simple. They loaded in seconds over dial-up. Now there are these gargantuan things with embedded videos. As we get up to, 100 megabits a second being the standard internet bandwidth, we'll get to websites that use every bit of it.
Yeah.
I mean, Facebook on PC is so bloaty it takes minutes to load on occasions.
Yeah, that's true. All right, well, when we get back here, we're going to continue on with the best in crypto news on the Crypto Hour on today's live edition of the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it! You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa. Hey. Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today. This is...
You ain't going to make it.
Wait a minute.
Forget it.
Whoa. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me?
Because you scared me.
You
what am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
You are listening to the Crypto Hour, brought to you by Helium.com, on the call to freedom on LRN.fm. أنتم تستمعون إلى The Crypto Hour، يقدم إليكم برعاية Helium.com على برنامج نداء للحرية على LRN.fm.
Hey everybody, my name is Carlos Matos and I am coming from New York City, New York. Let me tell you guys that I am so excited, I am so happy, I am really so thrilled to be right now sharing this amazing, glorious, super and exciting moment of my life with all of you guys. And let me tell you that we are really changing the world as we know it. The world is not anymore the way it used to be. No. Be
Welcome back here to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. So we've been talking about the, of course, best in crypto news for our crypto hour today. And, well, first we started off with, the St. Louis Federal Reserve is worried that cryptocurrencies are going to be a threat to the U.S. dollar. Good thing, because that's what they were designed to be. Then we went on to, the opportunity for a wallet that doesn't need the internet. Now, if you notice that the crypto space is getting a little criticism in social media and that different social media platforms seem a little less welcoming to cryptocurrency, well, that might be because some socialist countries have decided to take some of the money they steal from their citizens and invest it in anti-cryptocurrency social media campaigns. See, Poland's Financial Supervision Authority, the KNF, it's conducting a social media campaign about the risks of investing in cryptocurrency, according to a May 10th post on the KNF's website. KNF has placed a tender order of 615,000 zloty, around $173,000, to plan and conduct the campaign, which focuses on the risks associated with cryptocurrencies, pyramid schemes, and forex trading. The KNF's recent initiative is evidently part of a larger anti-cryptocurrency campaign led by the country's authorities. In mid-February, the Central Bank of Poland admitted to funding a $27,000 anti-cryptocurrency campaign that specifically consisted of YouTube videos with no indication that it was sponsored content about a man who lost all of his money crypto trading.
I remember that.
The Central Bank of Poland and the KNF have also partnered to make an anti-crypto educational website that explains why virtual currency is not money and cryptocurrencies are not currency. Also in February, as a response to the government's efforts, a small film studio released a documentary about cryptocurrency in Poland called Crypto, spelled with a K, with the declared goal of educating the Polish public with facts about crypto and blockchain technology. This sounds like marijuana in the U.S.
Yeah, it sounds like FUD. It's fair and certainty doubt. They don't want people using cryptocurrencies. It's the same. It's the same nonsense that countries all over the world and have been basically funding about various various different
innovations in the technology market or in any market, really.
Yeah. It's
what is it? The candle maker and the light bulb? What's that thing that, what was it, Thoreau that discussed the candle maker and the light bulb? You don't remember?
I don't.
I can't remember. It's a parable about how.
Yeah, I think I've heard of it. I just don't recall it.
Aria, come on,
Man,
I know you.
I don't know why I can't think of the guy's name. I mean, he wrote a satirical article about how we needed to, ban the sun because it was unfair competition for candle makers.
The candle makers petition. Yeah, it was Bastiat. That's what I thought it was. The candle makers petition by Bastiat. And yeah, some AEI has actually rewrote it and modernized it for today's climate of rising trade protectionism. Pretty smart. We might actually read this tomorrow on the air. This is pretty good. But I mean, Bastiat lived when? In the 1700s? The early 1800s? And they were doing it then. They were talking about it then. 1845. So, yeah.
I mean, and he pointed out then the obvious fallacies in it.
Yeah. Absolutely. He says?
And we've learned nothing in the interim 250 years since.
The French government should enact protectionist legislation against the unfair competition of the foreign rival, the sun. So
what will they think of next?
For real. And I mean, honestly, what do we really expect from the Central Bank of Poland? The Central Bank of Poland? The people that crypto was meant to undermine and put out of business.
I wonder where these campaigns are going to be, going on, because Facebook here,
social media.
Well, they say social media, but okay, so what are the major social media outlets? Facebook has banned supposedly crypto. Will they allow an anti-crypto campaign?
Absolutely, absolutely.
I mean, I don't know. And
not to mention it's
what about
government
Twitter?
sponsored.
Has Twitter banned it?
It has as well.
Okay, so what else is? What other social platforms are there?
But you still see Verge on there talking about their coin all the time. You just can't advertise. They won't allow you to do paid advertisements anymore.
All right.
Which gives
what this is going to be a paid advertisement now. So
yeah, but it's government.
Yeah.
Backed. So, government supported always changes everything.
Yeah, you're probably right.
If you load them on the cattle cars and gas them, then it's bad. But if government does it, then it's, what's the word? Collateral damage. So, I mean, everything is different when you do it than when government does it. So, I mean, come on, guys. We're voluntarists. We already knew that. It's part of the reason why we hate government to start with. It's why crypto exists. Just in case you people forgot. But yeah, so we've got the Polish government. They're going to fund this campaign. Poland's previous wait a second. Hold on. The KNF's official post says that it's going to be accepting applications and proposals from the public for the campaign until my birthday, May the 18th, and that the campaign will begin in June of 2018 and last for 30 days. The KNF's description of the initiative also mentions the promotion of an app referred to as KNF Alert. According to local news outlet Bitcoin.pl, the campaign will include 2 30-second video spots, presumably on television, Poland's previous anti-cryptocurrency education campaign was received mostly negatively in the country, particularly due to the lack of transparency around the YouTube video's sponsorship. Poland's central bank responded in depth to the criticism, mentioning the volatility of crypto markets and the use of crypto for cyber crimes as impetus for the video. However, the bank did note that they are not opposed to the development of blockchain technology. So now we're okay with blockchain technology. We'll use it, but the competitors need to go away.
You know, it's kind of funny because I don't necessarily I think the way the government's going about this is just all wrong. I mean, I would agree that I would not recommend your typical individual to just go out and put money into cryptocurrency for the sake of investing, but it doesn't mean it's not a better investment than, I don't know, probably something else that your typical person would go and make an investment in. But I think at the end of the day, it is a risky investment because it shouldn't be an investment. It should be like holding cash. It should be used. It should be like a cryptocurrency. And I support people using the dollar. The dollar I know is going to go down, but I wouldn't necessarily expect to make a buck off it.
Exactly. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
Did you know you can get news updates about what's happening with the Liberty Radio Network delivered in the way you prefer? You can sign up for our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. Plus, you can stay in the loop by joining our Facebook profile at facebook.lrn.fm or follow us at Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm. It's all free, so sign up now at updates.lrn.fm for news updates delivered to your email box, facebook.lrn.fm to follow our Facebook page, and twitter.lrn.fm to receive our tweets.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
You are listening to the Crypto Hour on the Call to Freedom.
تستمتعون إلى The Crypto Hour على برنامج نداء للحرية.
Live from the Verticoin studio. This is the Call to Freedom. It's the Crypto Hour, brought to you by Helium 47 here on LRN.FM. When you kill the faucet, be colorified to get some free coins. This is the Call to Freedom.
That's right. It's time for the final segment of this afternoon's Crypto Hour right here on the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM. And, well, last but not least of our stories from the crypto space today, well, one of those popular naysayer arguments is finally been done away with. Florida tax collectors are now accepting Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. That makes them real, right? Now that you can pay your government extortion fee in them. It says here a Florida county tax collector has partnered with Bitcoin payments processor BitPay to accept cryptocurrency for a variety of services.
You said BitPay?
Yes.
So BitPay is a company to avoid.
Right. Seminole County tax collector Joel Greenberg said in a statement Monday that his office will take Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash payments for fees associated with driver's licenses, ID cards, automobile tags, titles, and property taxes. The office decided to accept the cryptocurrency in an effort to streamline fee collection, reduce the potential for fraud and identity theft, and increase the transparency and accuracy of payments. Greenberg's office added that it does not perceive any price volatility or risk to the county in accepting cryptocurrencies. Greenberg said in the statement, "The aim of my tenure in office is to make our customer experience," I love how they call taxpayers customers, "to make our customer experience faster, smarter, and more efficient."
Pretty sure if I point a gun at somebody and demand money, they'll arrest me.
Yeah.
And he does this with cryptocurrency and not cash.
We want to bring government services from the 18th century into the 21st century, and one way is the addition of cryptocurrencies to our payment options. The collaboration with the Seminole County tax collector makes BitPay's first government partnership. Head of compliance Jeremy Beaudry said the company was launched because, quote, "We recognize the potential for blockchain to revolutionize the financial industry, making payments faster, more secure, and less expensive on a global scale. With the Seminole County Tax Collector's Office, we've engaged our first government agency to accept Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash by making it easy and seamless for them." However, Greenberg's office is not the only local government entity that has entertained the idea of cryptocurrency for taxes. Arizona and Georgia lawmakers both have proposed bills this year that would allow citizens to pay their state tax liabilities in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, though neither bill has made it through their respective legislatures at the time of printing this article. Well,
it's like going to heaven finding God smoking crack.
What do you think over there?
So I mean, so this isn't the only place where, from what I understand, you can pay in crypto. I'm pretty sure there's a place over in Europe. Is it Monaco? I think it was Monaco.
Right.
I actually couldn't find it because I couldn't think of the name.
Yeah, but those aren't real taxes. Those aren't American taxes.
Okay,
it's not
sure.
real money until you pay it in real taxes.
Also have something that was the Senate passed. I don't know if it went through. Arizona? Was it Arizona?
They just said that neither of those, the bill in Arizona nor the bill in Georgia, have made it through the respective legislatures.
I'm sorry, I was half ignoring what you were reading when you were reading it
because you were looking for the Monaco one.
Yeah.
So there we go, guys. It's official. Cryptocurrency is now real, right? Because that's one of the arguments, right? It's not real because you can't pay your taxes.
No, I get a question. Is this realer now than the U.S. dollar? Because the U.S. dollar, cryptocurrencies can now be spent in multiple countries and taxes can be paid in, as opposed to the U.S. dollar only works in America to pay your U.S. taxes. I've always thought this was a kind of a ridiculous argument, just because it's like, okay, I can't
pay your extortion fee to the state.
I can't use euros to pay the U.S. government. Does that make euros not a crypto or not a currency, not a real currency?
Well, no, but you can use it to pay taxes in places in Europe. So since cryptocurrency now is accepted for taxes,
I guess it must be a real currency. I guess
it
now
makes it real now.
I don't know. And then it was like, but wait a minute. Even before there was at least one or two countries that were allowing you to pay taxes with cryptocurrencies. So I don't know.
Well, you can't pay your taxes with gold and silver. I'll tell you that much.
Is that the case everywhere? Is there no place that
I don't know, but I don't
pay
think you
with
can
gold
here in
and
the
silver?
U.S.
I know. I think there was some place where they were paying or they were trying to enable it so that Congress critters could get paid in like gold or silver or something like that. I'm not sure if it passed anywhere, but I know there's been talk and there's been bills and such for that.
I don't see anything here. I mean, there's Bloomberg has covered it. The Chicago Tribune has covered it. But I don't see anything here that this is just it's not an article. We'd have to listen to it. But I don't see anything here that shows any country you can actually pay your taxes in gold. Forbes magazine says that transacting in gold will shaft the IRS. That's awesome. Can I figure out how to do more than that? Okay. How do I do that? Is there a way? It's another way I can screw the government?
Yeah, it sounds interesting. I want to know more.
Real.
Let me know. And this is legal?
A Utah law passed banning taxes on the use of silver and gold coins as currency and permitting residents to remit state taxes in these coins. Big deal, you might say. That's already in the Constitution. No state shall make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts. Oklahoma's done something similar, confirming that transactions taking place in gold and silver are free from state taxes on the exchange medium. Currently in federal law, if you buy things with gold, you have to declare a taxable gain on any market appreciation of the gold used to make the purchase. What a delicious opportunity this presents when it comes to taxation. Let's say the members of a community somewhere here in the U.S. decide to do all their business in gold. The dollar price of everything would be much less. A $3 latte would go for about 10 gold cents, and the price of gold on the market exceeds that of the official treasury price by a factor of 30. If the community is of decent size, any number of businesses and individuals can make close to all of their income via gold transactions. Somebody might clear, for example, $3,000 in gold income a year, or $90,000 if that was translated into paper dollars. Because of the abundantly established legal precedent for treating gold and paper the same, the maximum subject to taxation would be $3,000, an amount easily eliminated by the standard deduction on your income tax.
So this is only at the state level, though, and unfortunately, we pay most of our taxes at the federal level, right? So it doesn't do us as much good as we might.
If you're in a state that's unlike New Hampshire, where they have a state income tax, then it's a beautiful thing. But, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
And there are quite a few. I think there's, only 11 states that don't have an income tax, if I'm not mistaken.
Was there that many? There's actually quite a few. It's more than I might have otherwise thought.
Let's see here.
I know there's a few states that don't have a sales tax.
7.
7. Okay.
I thought there were 11, but there are 7.
Yeah, it's more than I thought still.
Alaska, Florida, Nevada, South Dakota, Texas, Washington, and Wyoming, and the residents of New Hampshire and Tennessee are also spared from handing over an extra chunk of their paycheck on April 15th, though they do pay tax on dividends and income from investments.
Now, there is, and I was going to say there's also a corporate tax in New Hampshire. So I think it's
most states have
small,
a corporate tax, but we're talking like individual income taxes, state income tax.
Yeah, it's true, but it's still one thing that I'm not too fond of. I have a business and I pay a corporate tax as a result. So I to say that they get none of my money is not very true. And there's also small hidden taxes here and there. There's taxes on prepared meals. Mm-hmm. So not if you go in the grocery store, but if you go to McDonald's. If you go to purchase register a car, they call it a fee, but it's still a money handing over to the government. And there's also other, there's probably some other ones I don't even think of at the moment.
All right, when we get back here, we're going to be talking about how secure your device can be now when you cross the border. When we get back here on the Call to Freedom, here on LRN.FM.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
More of the Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, May 15th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.32 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,303 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $31, and the average price of Bitcoin is $8,763. Antiwar.com reports pro-Saudi forces announced on Monday that the large-scale military operations against the northern port city of Hodeidah have begun and that the forces intend to continue advancing north until victory is achieved. Hodeidah is the lone seaport under control of the Shiite Houthi movement and by extension is the only port through which humanitarian aid can flow for the entire northern half of Yemen, a vital humanitarian location which to pro-Saudi forces is a vital military target. Successfully conquering Hodeidah would, after all, mean the Houthi territory, including the capital city, and many millions of people would have no access to food or medical aid. This would be an opportunity for the Saudi invading forces to really crack down on them. Saudi-led forces have been massing just south of the city and say that while the city itself is not the immediate goal of the invasion, it is the eventual point of the operation. The liberation of Hodeidah is seen as a potential breaking point for the Houthis. They envision it forcing a surrender, but it could also bring many millions of malnourished people into outright starvation. This is a known fact, with the UN Special Envoy warning about this for weeks. Still, Saudi officials have been desperate to break the stalemate in the war and have shown little concern for consequences to civilians. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals, and as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the Seattle City Council unanimously approved a tax on big businesses to help alleviate the city's growing homelessness problem and a lack of affordable housing. The tax, which has been unofficially nicknamed the Amazon tax, named after the online retailer which is headquartered in Seattle, will affect businesses that generate annual revenue of $20 million or more, according to a Seattle Times report. Those businesses, about 3% of all businesses in the city, will have to pay an extra $275 per full-time employee each year over the next 5 years, at which point the tax will expire. The tax is expected to generate nearly $47 million, which will be used to build 591 low-income housing units by 2023. The original tax proposal was nearly twice as high, but the City Council chose to approve a thinner version of the proposal. Amazon is the city's largest private employer and will pay the most under the new tax law. The company lobbied against both versions of the tax proposal. Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need SpendABit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. SpendABit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. spendabit.co. Reuters reports sports fans on Monday shrugged off a U.S. Supreme Court ruling that could open the door to legalize sports betting, saying it would likely have little impact on baseball, basketball, and football games already subject to off-the-books gambling. The nation's top court struck down a 1992 law that widely outlawed gambling on college and professional sports, calling it unconstitutional and likely touching off a rush by gaming businesses and states to cash in on an expected multi-billion-dollar industry. A group of hockey fans gathered at the Red Rock Casino to watch the Las Vegas Knights take on the Winnipeg Jets in the NHL playoffs saw the legalization of sports betting as having little impact on the Las Vegas tourism or gaming economies. Experts, however, caution that illegal gambling was likely to disappear just because sports fans could make legal wagers and that professional sports leagues would likely take a cautious approach. George Belge, a marketing professor at San Diego State University and co-founder of the school's sports management MBA program, said that on the one hand, the major sports leagues would welcome the television viewers that gambling could attract in a time of declining ratings, but would be leery about damaging the integrity of their sports. Major League Baseball said in a written statement, "Our most important priority is protecting the integrity of our games. We will continue to support legislation that creates airtight coordination and partnerships between the states, the casino operators, and the governing bodies in sports towards that goal." This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
It's The Onion Radio News. Teen sex is linked to alcohol and drugs by the Center for Figuring Out Really Obvious Things. This is Doyle Redland reporting. An exhaustive 4-year, $23 million study of substance abuse and sexual habits of more than 2,500 American teens has confirmed that young people between the ages of 13 and 18 who drink and or use drugs are more likely to be sexually active. Dr. Gerald Eckersley is director of the Boston-based organization.
We found that this phenomenon also occurs among adults as well as every population everywhere in the world that has ever existed since the dawn of time.
The center has sent a teleprompter-ready press release of its findings to more than 400 local TV news affiliates across the U.S., along with stock video footage of beer displays and teens smoking and drinking at parties. Doyle Redland for the Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
You're listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM.
تستمتعون إلى برنامج نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.FM.
Is a burning thing, and it makes a fiery ring, bound by wild desire. I fell into a ring of fire, 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 fire.
Welcome back here to the last hour of this afternoon's live broadcast of the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. Now, Chris, you've been in the studio with us today. We've also got, it's just me and you now.
Yeah.
Aria had some errands that she's got to run. So now it's down to me and Chris. You've brought an interesting story in. This was actually something that some people I know went to Anarchapulco. And they actually prepared themselves for it. They actually bought new laptops, new stuff like that, just to cross the border specifically because of this kind of thing here. And now you're saying that may have changed.
Yeah, it has. But I still would take all those precautions because you still can't trust the government.
Right.
So the title of the article is Fourth Circuit rules that suspicionless forensic searches of electronic devices at the border are unconstitutional. So this story comes from the EFF. Which is actually an organization that fights for your freedom, basically, your electronic freedom. And in this case, it involves computers, so therefore, it's electronic, I guess. All right. So in a victory for privacy rights at the border, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fourth Circuit today ruled that the forensic searches of electronic devices carried out by the border agents without any suspicion that the traveler has committed a crime violate the U.S. Constitution. Yes. Finally, I'm actually surprised that they ruled the way they did. So people have to understand that at the border, the government has basically interpreted the law and the rules, the Constitution, as saying you have no expectation of privacy whatsoever at the border, and they can basically do whatever they want. Basically, all rules, all constitutional protections kind of get thrown out.
Well, it's kind of like if you're on public land. I remember one time we were it was Memorial Day or Veterans Day, one or the other, and we were at Juniper at one of the springs down in Florida, and we did have beer. It was in a cooler that was in the truck, but the coolers that I had actually brought into the park were all full of soda and meat and stuff like that. And this Fish and Wildlife guy came up and he's like, "I want to see what's in your cooler." And I was like, "Well, I want to see your warrant." And he was like, "Well, I'm Fish and Wildlife. I don't have to have a warrant."
What?
If you're on state-owned land, Fish and Wildlife, forestry officials, park rangers, they don't have to have a warrant. They can search your property.
It's government property, though, and if it's government property, your constitutional protection should apply.
Well, no, it's government property that functions like private property.
That doesn't make any sense. The government doesn't. Oh man. All right.
They're federal officials. You're on federal land. It's like me being in your house.
I'm not saying that. I totally believe. So here's the problem. Government officials are also allowed to lie, and I'm talking about like police and law enforcement. Basically, they're allowed to lie, and probably park rangers and all sorts. They're allowed to lie to you basically to get you to do what they want. And sometimes they may be telling you the truth, and sometimes they're not. Frequently they will tell you that it is the law, and if you actually ask them to cite the law, they don't have to and they won't, and whatever. But if you don't obey them, they're going to arrest you, regardless of what the law actually says, and then it will be up for the court to decide whether or not you're guilty or not. So he could have probably arrested you. Now, I don't know.
Well, they threw me off the property, and he can't arrest me.
Interesting.
I was told to
So
leave.
What happened?
Eventually, I had.
Did you open for him? That's a good first question.
I refused to open no matter what he did.
Good.
So he threw me off the property, and then my mom let him open it. And he looked through it, and there's nothing in there but like hug jugs and soda pop.
So you left the property.
I left the. I was told
you left without your property.
Without my property.
You shouldn't have done that. I would have taken it.
It was full of stuff for my mom and my kid for the barbecue.
I still would have taken it.
Well, I'm not going to ruin their barbecue because the cop's being a jackass. So I was forced to leave the property and go out and stand at the edge and wait for someone to come get me. 2 local sheriff's officers came and sat in their patrol cars on the side of the road by the entrance and watched to make sure that I didn't go back inside, because had I stepped back inside and crossed the boundary again, then I would have been arrested for trespassing on federal land.
It doesn't make any sense.
It
doesn't make any sense whatsoever. If it's federal land and it's open to the public and you haven't broken any laws.
According to them, Fish and Wildlife and Forest Park Rangers, none of them need a warrant.
That sounds like nonsense. It doesn't sound constitutional at all. Nowhere in the Constitution does it says, unless, it's on this fake quasi-government-owned land that's not public property, but it is because it's open to the public. Like, I don't know, man. I wish you had asked, and not that they would have given you the answer to this, but I would love to have known what part of the law, says this, or what court ruling has decided that public land, government land, is somehow private. And I know that there's rulings on like schools and things like that, and they can kick you off school grounds, but I don't know. I would love to see, the court ruling that, says
a game warden can search your vehicle and your house without a warrant.
I'm sorry, but I'm going to refuse. You're going to have to bring me to court. I'm not going to give you access to my property if you don't have a warrant. What's the charge? What specifically is the charge for refusing?
I'm trying to find that. Says every year people in federal and state parks end up in cuffs because they don't realize that park rangers are real police, real law enforcement officers.
I'm not arguing that
park
they're real
rangers,
police. But police need warrants.
And game wardens and other officials not only have the authority to arrest you, but they can refer your matter to local law enforcement as well. However, let's see here. Where's the private security? Security guards don't have any authority because they're private. Where's the part about the warrant? Control F. Go back. Where's the part about the warrant? Okay. It's not in that one. Anyway, he told me they don't need a warrant. That's what I've always heard, is that they don't have to have a warrant. Let's see here.
The government needs a warrant in order to search private property. It's that simple. Unless you're transporting it in a vehicle, they need a warrant.
Game wardens can examine without warrant, as provided by law, any vehicle, creel, land, or water conveyance.
What constitutional exception does the Constitution provide? That's what I want to know. And I want to know the court ruling specifically that says otherwise.
Says laws in many U.S. states allow game wardens.
No, laws do not supersede the Constitution. No. You have to have, and I want to know the court ruling that says otherwise.
Louisiana state law.
No, Louisiana doesn't understand that Louisiana does not have authority over the Constitution. Your state constitution does not even exceed the federal constitution of the U.S. government. No.
This says that these exceptions are granted to game wardens and are still considered to fall within the constitutional limits of search and seizure as outlawed in the Constitution.
Okay. Where in the Constitution does it say that? Or I want to know exactly which Supreme Court ruled.
Well, we'll have to look it up while we're on break.
I want to know this. Yes.
We're going to have to look that up while we're on break.
This is the most
because we've gotten way out into this one now.
Yeah.
We've definitely got to figure out, how does this authority come about? Where does it come from?
That's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I got kicked off Atlanta.
I don't doubt that. I just think this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Some government
It's open to the general public. It's not like a school where they only allow certain people.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
The 3 most important things you can do for LRN.FM are: 1. Let your friends know you're listening to LRN.FM on your social networking profile. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.lrn.fm. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm. It's my firm belief that the AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented groups. Support all your favorite organizations, but make sure you give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on-demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long-distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
In a deal policymakers have hailed as a decisive step towards combating the rapidly escalating national debt, the United States settled 0.02 millionth of a percent of its debt to China this week with a single autographed photograph of John Hamm. The sale of the glossy signed headshot of the acclaimed actor, which China reportedly accepted for a financial easement of approximately $150 out of America's estimated $1.3 trillion in obligations, concludes a 6-month negotiation between the two parties.
The decision was obviously not an easy one, but without question, this was the right choice for our nation's future.
And in this week's science news, a distant planet is terrified that it might be able to someday support human life. In other news, a live cow is lowered onto the floor of the U.S. House of Representatives. The majority of an office's supplies are used to apply for different jobs, and a lapsed cult member only attends sanctum on major bloodletting holidays.
This is the Onion News Network.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM. आप सुन रहे हैं स्वतंत्रता की पुकार सिर्फ और सिर्फ LRN.FM पे।
Welcome back here to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. Now, we started talking about the whole warrantless searches of your property close to a border. And that brought us on to a discussion. Chris didn't realize that game wardens and forestry officials...
Well, I'm questioning whether or not this is in fact the case, because I'm also reading here online also that it's been being fought at the state level, and I believe you read another article in Texas that was being fought at the state level, and these are fairly recent cases. But where's the federal constitutional protection? It sounds like this is not constitutional, but I haven't found anything contradicting that. But go ahead.
Well, I've found a number of things. This is from Field and Stream. It says, I was speaking with the game warden, and he said that if he sees you fishing on a private pond on your land, he can come onto your property and check your license and your catch. Public waters, I understand, but this is my land. He doesn't have a warrant. I should be able to do whatever I want. This is mine. Well, depending on the state you live in, really isn't. You've got some states that's the case, and then you've got others where that's simply just, well, it's not. You've got in Texas, as I was saying earlier, that you have laws that straight up are like, yeah, they can come on your property without that. In Colorado, here's one. In Colorado, law enforcement officers can enter your private land without permission to check a hunting or fishing license. But they can't check a pond that you have stocked. So if it's a private pond that you have stocked, but if it's a river that flows on your land, they can actually come on your land without a warrant.
I'm more interested in the container situation. Or a vehicle situation, because what these states are basically trying to claim is that a game warden can search your vehicle without a suspicion of a crime, okay, which a cop can't do. They have to have a suspicion in order to search a vehicle without a warrant, and a container in your case, because a container is especially walking, because unlike with a car where they don't necessarily need a warrant, they do need a warrant if you're walking down the street with a container.
Well, here we've got a change.org petition attempting to change these laws in Alabama. It says here, every year game wardens in Alabama and many other states violate the civil rights of citizens when they're allowed to enter onto private property without permission or a warrant. In Alabama, they have unlimited authority to, quote, enter upon any land or water in the performance of their duty. They trespass at will on farms and wooded areas throughout the state. When they're bored with trespassing, they stop drivers for speeding. And it's all perfectly legal and violates the Fourth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution.
Yeah, notice it's the U.S. Constitution. It's not your state constitution. Your state ruling, your state can rule that it's constitutional at the state level, and it's still unconstitutional at the federal level. So the whole idea that a state declares it legal does not mean it's actually constitutional at the U.S. level, at the federal level.
Let's see here. Updates. On May 3rd, 2013, District Court Judge Chad Coker ruled that based on the evidence and testimony presented at trial, he was innocent of all charges. An Alabama game warden entered his property in Colbert County and falsely accused him of hunting with the aid and assistance of 4-month-old pairs. He had no invitation, no probable cause, and no warrant. Even though there was no evidence of illegal activity, he spent 2 days trespassing on my private property, just sneaking a peek. During our encounter, he refused to show me the old pairs that were troubling him, so worthy of a citation. However, during the trial, he not only remembered the pairs, but actually recalled mysterious white powder on top of them. It might have been mold. Whatever it was never mentioned prior to trial and was not mentioned in the unsigned charge sheet. So his charges were dropped eventually, but he still had to go through a trial.
Yeah, and this is the thing. They can charge you with whatever they want. When they charge you, there's not a law that they're citing that they're charging you with. They might be in certain cases, but at the end of the day, they're just saying, I think you committed a crime, and then the prosecutor has to find a law to charge you with. So yeah, it's not really surprising, and they'll usually come up with some charge where they might charge you with something and then change the charge on you because just doesn't make any sense. I remember, so actually, I was charged with, I got charged with something hilarious. So I got 2 parking tickets, and they charged me, one of the parking tickets they charged me with, or was it one or both? I forget which. It might have been both. No, I think it was both. They charged me with basically like installing parking meters. It was hilarious because they charged me with the wrong like section basically, and eventually it did get thrown out. Actually, both of the parking tickets got thrown out. They were just $5 parking tickets, but it was kind of funny.
Well, in some states, their authority is limited only to in a park, only to on state land. In other states, they have authority even outside of the park, just like a regular police officer does. But they're basically a completely unaccountable police force, particularly in state or federal lands. And again, a lot of this is state laws that are saying, well, we've decided that in this area, because we have to prevent poaching, basically.
Yeah, it's yeah, I don't know. It's just where is this? At what point did you surrender your rights by coming onto the property? I mean, this kind of reminds me of the whole argument for driver's licenses. It's like, so wait a minute, if I don't get a driver's license, so you're making me get a driver's license, so you're making me give up my right to refuse a breathalyzer. This just doesn't make any sense. I mean, I'm sorry. The whole driver's license thing just drives me nuts. And this any situation where they're basically saying that they can make you give up your constitutional rights is just ridiculous.
California Park and Rec Department, their motto is, our authority is statewide, our jurisdiction is statewide, our beat is the state of California.
Wow.
So, wow, that's kind of scary.
Yeah, it sounds to me like there hasn't been any case that's gone to the U.S. Supreme Court, is what it sounds like. And there needs to be, because that's just ridiculous. This is very clear constitutional violation, I think. But unfortunately, they do try to prevent people from taking stuff up the chain. And the Supreme Court also doesn't take many cases, so it's basically voluntary. You don't have a right to get hurt at the Supreme Court.
All right. Well, when we get back here, we're going to talk about heroes that don't wear capes. Sometimes they quit jobs in disgust. When we get back here on The Call to Freedom on LRN.FM.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your get intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Excuse me, is this where I get a license to start a new business?
I wouldn't be hasty. You have to get a license to go out of business, too, you know.
Oh, well, look, I've invented this little anti-gravity machine, see?
Oh, is that why you're walking 2 inches above the floor?
Oh, yes, it's very comfortable. It saves on shoe leather.
Yeah, well, you have to fill out these forms and report to the Human Services Department of Manpower Orientation and register with the Fair Employment Practice Commission, the Wage and Hour Division of the Employment Standards Administration, the State Sales and Income Tax Division, the Internal Revenue Service, and the Social Security Administration of the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, and, of course, OSHA.
OSHA? I thought that was a little town in Wisconsin.
You'll find out. Say, floating around like that could be dangerous. Have you checked with the Consumer Product Safety Commission?
Well, not yet.
Come to think of it, you actually are flying, aren't you? Look, you need to go over to the Federal Aviation Administration and the Transportation...
It's very hard to get anything done these days if you're in business, but free enterprise built this country. Think what could happen if we don't keep it free. A public service of this station and the Center for the Defense of Free Enterprise, Bellevue, Washington.
We just can't have people floating about unregulated, you know.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.fm. Unasikiliza wito wa uhuru katika LRN.fm.
Don't you wish it was just as easy as yelling that at an out-of-control federal agent? X the hell off of me! And boom, they just go away like magic, like in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
You want to search my property without a warrant because I'm on federal land? Let me bust out my magic wand, fool. Well, moving right along from federal agents who are butt-raping the Constitution while purviewing over their jobs as game wardens, let's move on to, well, I guess what we'll call heroes that aren't wearing capes. A dozen Google employees quit over the military drone project. The strongest possible statement I could take against this was to leave. Despite protests from employees, Google is still charging ahead with a Department of Defense collaboration to produce machine learning software for drones. Google hasn't listened to a contingent of its employees that is unhappy with Google's involvement in the military-industrial complex. Now, a report from Gizmodo says about a dozen employees have resigned over the issue. Don't you hate when a company gets so big that you know that there's no way that they'll be able to that the boycott will actually do anything, or that calling for a boycott would even happen? You know, like the only way you can get today, the only way, like you can do this, like all they're doing is killing brown kids, so it's straight. You know, but now if you could just get somebody from Google to say the N-word on tape somewhere, just follow him around with a tape recorder in your hand and poke at him. You know, get some black dude to just follow him around with a tape recorder and poke at him and poke at him and poke at him and get him to say the N-word. Then there would be protests. Then there would be more than just 12 people quit. Then there would be international outrage.
Condemnation.
There would be DuckDuckGo their stock price would shoot through the roof. DuckDuckGo, by the way, is one of Google's competitors. Or Bing. You'd see these other things. They'd shoot through the roof. Google would be like a wounded bird. But they're just helping kill brown kids. So, I mean, it's not like it's offensive.
You know, the crazy thing about this is it's sort of like I totally agree with the protest over the military and everything. But there is a little bit of an issue here. I mean, are you going to protest over the fact that you build computers that can also be utilized for military purposes? I mean, it's sort of like,
well, I think this is because there's specifically a contract with them.
Right. So I'm in support of them like boycotting over the contract. But as far as the technological means and the development of it, it seems kind of hard to be upset with that. It's something that can be used in all sorts of ways and areas, and technology can be used for good and it can be used for evil. I mean, it's just,
well, yeah. Look at the nuclear program. You can use it to annihilate entire civilizations in the blink of an eye, or you can use it to create the cheapest energy, and take civilizations out of the dark ages.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something,
it can be used for both.
It's something we have to face up to. You have governments are bad. I mean, this is why you need to minimize government. Don't be afraid of the technology, but be afraid of the government and how they're going to use it. And it's going to be misused. It's going to be abused. It's putting people into power.
To government, and that's what these people are saying is like, it's not. Well, it will be misused. They're designing it to be misused. It says here the controversial program is called Project Maven, and it sees Google applying its usual machine learning and image recognition expertise to millions of hours of drone footage collected by the military. The goal is to identify people and objects of interest, while Google spokesperson says the program is, quote, scoped for non-offensive purposes. You're scoping out possible targets. Totally non-offensive, of course. A letter signed by almost 4,000 Google employees took issue with this assurance to see if they'd all quit.
This kind of reminds me of something like a, I don't know, kind of like a camp set up to, with cameras to identify the people who are trying to escape from it, and then saying it's used for non-offensive purposes. Yeah, you're really trying to defend the fence from the people you're holding inside.
4,000 angry employees, 12 with the balls enough to do something besides grumble.
It's actually kind of surprising that 12 people, they managed to get 12 people to leave. I mean, how many people are willing to quit their jobs over what their company is doing? That's terrible and evil and stuff.
I did once.
Did you? That's good for you. I don't know if I know.
I outed it in a training program.
Really?
And 4 days after they fired me for doing that, Frontline or Dateline.
So what did they do exactly, and what happened?
I was working for a sales company, and they had just gotten a contract with DeVry, and DeVry was teaching us one thing, and the computer program that we were supposed to be gleaning our information from was saying something else. And I was pointing out in the class that they were telling us to tell kids to take degrees that had nothing to do with what they wanted to do.
Okay.
Like, why would you take this class if you want to do this? Like, they're not even related.
Mm-hmm.
And when I pointed that out, they got upset, and I got called in the office. Now, I was a top salesman for the company, but they had just signed this $2 million contract with DeVry, and DeVry wanted me gone because I had called this out in their class, and other people were now starting to be like, yeah, you know what? I noticed that too. So now you've got a whole class full of people that are supposed to sell this garbage on behalf of DeVry that are like, whoa, like, I see that
too. Didn't DeVry go under?
I don't know if they went under, but I know that, like, right after I got fired, and literally, I think this fact saved my marriage.
When was this exactly? Because I
2008,
2009. Interesting, because I thought they went under fairly recently. And it's a tech school, right? Like,
they're a business tech, BS private school, private college type thing.
Yeah. I my understanding was
like Phoenix University.
It's a school that you if you get somebody with a degree from, you basically don't hire them because it's like just that bad. If it's the one I'm thinking of, yeah, it's worthless. Okay, that's the reputation.
It's like Phoenix.
Yeah. Okay.
Or Trump University.
Yeah. Okay. So interesting.
Right after I got fired, because basically they called me in the office and they were like, DeVry says they want you gone. And I was like, that's cool, man. I'll go back to Bradford Exchange. I don't want to work for a company I feel like I think I'm scamming people. And he was like, yeah, about the fact that you said that. DeVry doesn't want you to go back to Bradford Exchange. They want you out of the building. They feel that the things that you have said are affecting morale. And they want you fired. And the choice is you, second best salesman in the district for 8 months straight, or big contract.
Yeah.
I couldn't make enough money for them in a decade to pay for that contract. But yeah, literally by the end of the following week, Dateline was doing a story where they had gone in and done one of their things, and they had caught DeVry doing exactly what I had called out in that training class. It saved my marriage.
I have to wonder if it wasn't possibly your
No.
Well, I mean, because
they
you
were
said
already investigating it, and it was a different.
prior to the whole thing. Okay. Because I was gonna say, I mean, maybe you were mentioning it in class, got other people to think about it, and then somebody else reported it.
No, this was a story they'd been working on because it was released like the end of the following week on Dateline.
Okay.
And they were like, they had done like a month-long investigation at a different place where they had
Gotcha.
where it was already set up. They were training us.
So you're not the only one who picked up on this thing, clearly.
No, they were training us to cheat people, and I picked up that that's what they were doing.
Yeah.
Because I have a conscience. I don't like to steal from people. What a concept!
I know, right?
Yeah. So anyway, kudos to the guys over at Google, though. 12 of you quit your job. Send me an address of some kind. I'll send you some crypto. I want to reward you guys for such a good thing that you've done. Or buy you a drink, something.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing. To be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Did you know you can listen to LRN.FM via our free-to-air satellite channels? We have channels over nearly all of North America and much of Africa. All you need is an affordable receiver and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you are a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage maps and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm. sat.lrn.fm.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that tenth of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
If you're looking for work, there's a piece of paper more important than your resume. It's the cover letter attached if you're snail mailing, or the email to which you attach your resume. Make it 4 short paragraphs. Paragraph 1, say that you're applying for work. The person you're sending to gets a ton of mail about all sorts of things. If you have a password, that's your first sentence. Tom Nelson tells me you and I should meet. Paragraph 2, what you do and how that relates to the opening. Be as specific as possible. Paragraph 3, why you want this particular job. I'm originally from Boston, so I know the market well. I have family and friends in the area, so this would be a homecoming for me. Paragraph 4, unless the job posting stipulates no calls, and I will call you to follow up. Thank you in advance for your time. From survivalspeech.com, I'm Holland Cook.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
You are listening to The Call to Freedom. Live on LRN.fm. تستمعون إلى نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.fm.
Discussion first on marijuana, okay? Marijuana has a very distinct smell, okay? I'm going to pass around just a little tiny bit, and I want you all to take a smell so you know when someone is smoking marijuana near you.
All right, welcome back here to the Call to Freedom on LRN.fm. Broadcasting live from the Burt Coin Studio for at least a couple more days here in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire. And it is the last 15 minutes, the last segment of this live afternoon drive home broadcast. So, as usual, it is time for, well, what's going on in the world of recreational and medical cannabis. And, well, we had two different stories we could choose from, and I think I've picked out one that we're gonna cover. It's quite long, and we're gonna cover that one tomorrow as a regular story for the show because it's so long that we at least need a half an hour, if not 45 minutes, to delve into it. But that gives me time to make a pretty cool announcement. I'm not a big fan of New York City politicians, the Babylon of America. But it looks as though the legalization dominoes are finally starting to fall in New York. Bill de Blasio has announced that he's telling the NYPD to overhaul its marijuana enforcement policies within the next 30 days. We must end unnecessary arrests and end disparity in enforcement.
Unnecessary. They're all unnecessary arrests.
Right.
I mean, if it doesn't involve a gun, and it doesn't involve, and it wouldn't have involved a gun probably if it wasn't for the laws in the first place that criminalize it. And I'm just, it's
says de Blasio's announcement has come a little more than 48 hours after the New York Times published an investigative report that found that black people were arrested for low-level marijuana charges at 8 times the rate of white or non-Hispanic people during the last 3 years. Hispanic residents were arrested 5 times the rate. At 5 times the rate. In Manhattan, the Times found black people were arrested at 15 times the rate.
Wow.
So, now, while the problem of New York cannabis arrests and their attendant racial disparities has long simmered in the city, developments in the past several months have brought the issue to full boil. On Monday, the day after the Times report landed, the New York Daily News reported that the head of the City Council's Justice Committee, Councilman Rory Lantzman, had asked New York City's 5 district attorneys to stop prosecuting low-level cannabis possession cases entirely. The city has proven itself completely unwilling to end discriminatory marijuana possession policing. The situation is becoming intolerable, Lantzman has said. He asked that misdemeanor charges for consuming cannabis in public be knocked down to simple violations, a move that would treat smoking on the sidewalk more like jaywalking than assault. More than a third of the people arrested on low-level cannabis charges last year had no previous criminal record, meaning that the New York City Police Department is literally manufacturing criminal records and dragging people into the justice system through it. New York City, the New York City Police Commissioner James P. O'Neill acknowledged that this more than a third of people were actually first-time of any kind offenders. At least 2 of the city's DAs are already exploring ways to scale back prosecutions. The Brooklyn District Attorney's Office, which decided in 2014 to stop prosecuting many low-level cannabis charges, is weighing an option to expand the policy to include people who consume in public without creating a public nuisance. Translation. You know those 3 guys smoking a blunt on the corner that ain't bothering nobody? Hopefully they won't get shot by the cops now.
Yeah, I suspect their real what they're going to do is they're just going to try and figure out, well, what if we can't go after these users, who can we go after that's not them, and then arrest somebody else? Because at the end of the day, prosecutors, they need people coming into the system. Cops, they need people coming into the system.
Because they need money.
If there ain't bad guys, they're going to manufacture bad guys. And black people were just easy targets. And
continue to be.
And they're racist. They are racist. I mean, they're racist, bigoted officers. That's who we have. And if they're not going after black people, they're going to go after the young people. If they don't go after the young people, they're going to go after the old people. They're going to find a group to target.
The good people in society have real jobs.
Yeah. Yeah, you may be able to
do something productive.
Right, you may be able to phrase it like that. In New Hampshire, up until 1913 or something like that, we didn't even have a state police.
Yeah.
And New Hampshire, there were people here. There's been people here since the 1700s.
And there was just murder in the street all day, every day.
Yeah, okay. No, that's not
exactly. That's the point.
The idea that we need a huge militarized police force is just absurd. The idea that we need to arrest people for nonviolent crimes is ridiculous.
Manhattan, check this out. Manhattan's district attorney's office, they're considering adopting a plan similar to Brooklyn's and halting the majority of low-level prosecutions in the borough. An official there told the Times that there were more than 5,000 people arrested on low-level cannabis charges in Manhattan alone last year. About 100 to 200 would be prosecuted under the plan that they're working on now.
So we went from 5,000 to 100 or 200?
Mm-hmm.
Much better. Not good enough, probably, but much better.
Yes, a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
It's still unclear, the paper reports, how prosecutors in the city's other boroughs are going to respond. So let's see here. Nixon's entry pushed the issue, of course. You've got Cynthia Nixon. She's... she decided to get in. I thought she was running for some Labor Party or something. But I guess she has entered the New York Democratic primary race for governor and has forced Andrew Cuomo to rethink his longtime opposition to cannabis legalization. For years, the state's medical cannabis program has stalled under his watch, and Cuomo has famously opposed full adult legalization. Over the past few weeks, though, Nixon has used the cannabis issue to highlight the difference between the candidates. In tweet after tweet, the former Sex and the City star has hammered on the need to legalize statewide, citing current racial disparities in arrests as well as the economic benefits likely to flow from a regulated market. And basically, it's already legal for white people. Yeah, okay. The surest way to face marijuana charges in New York is to be black or Hispanic. That's probably true.
Yeah, I'm sure.
At least according to the numbers here.
Yeah, white people fight it.
That's also
they hire
true.
lawyers.
That's also true. But that's basically it. That's the long and the short of it is that we've got at least forward motion for the first time ever on marijuana legalization even after things have bills have been passed.
We're looking at this as a totally racist issue, but it's not really it's not entirely just racism. It's also they're targeting people who are of less financial means. And this if you look at the statistics, you'll probably also find that it's mostly young people and of different races. It's not just black people that are targeted here.
2017 analysis by Harry Levine, professor at Queens College, showed that 76% of those arrested for marijuana possession in New York during the previous year had never been convicted of any crime previously.
It doesn't surprise me.
It likened the city's handling of cannabis arrests to its stop and frisk practices, which a federal judge in 2013 ruled was unconstitutional because it illegally searched and detained minority citizens. If the city isn't careful, the Times wrote, it could find itself hauled into court again, this time for marijuana arrests. All the action has led cannabis legalization activists to talk about marijuana legalization reaching a tipping point in New York. The state's Democratic Party is already expected to endorse a plan at the party convention next week to fully legalize adult-use cannabis. Thank God. Ending marijuana prohibition and establishing a system to tax and regulate marijuana for adults is a smart choice for New York communities, says the New York State Director for the Drug Policy Alliance, that's a huge step. So, yeah, there we go. Fingers crossed.
Maybe they'll go after the 2/3 of murder cases that don't get solved, but I don't think we have the competence in the police to actually do that.
Oh, amen to that. Well, when we get back tomorrow, we'll have more crypto news, more crazy things to talk about, more bad jokes, and more things to make you outraged. But don't go anywhere right now. Stick around, because Free Talk Live is coming up next.
Free Talk Live.
But is God against audio CDs or MP3s?
No, all that technology was stolen from the angels in the first place. You wouldn't have anything that wasn't here in 1947.
Why are you selling audio tapes on your website?
There's only one there, which is Angels Over Pendleton, shows
I see several audio
of
tapes
the angel that we communicated with.
No, you can't put video on it. You can't put video on an audio tape. I'm looking at your website here. There's a page where you've got audio tapes for sale for $6, $6.25 each.
And I bought both Nazareth and REO Speedwagon on audio tape.
On audio tape,
yeah.
But that was back in the 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're getting the word, if you're trying to get the word out about, what you believe is going to happen in the future, maybe you should put it on CD and at least move into the 1990s as opposed to, 1985.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment, walking down the street, to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, or paperback, or an audiobook of A User's Manual for the Human Experience.
You're 6 minutes away from a live episode of Free Talk Live, brought to you by Freekeen.com. Listen live at freetalklive.com.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, May 15th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.32 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,303 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $31, and the average price of Bitcoin is $8,763. Antiwar.com reports pro-Saudi forces announced on Monday that the large-scale military operations against the northern port city of Hodeidah have begun and that the forces intend to continue advancing north until victory is achieved. Hodeidah is the lone seaport under control of the Shiite Houthi movement and by extension is the only port through which humanitarian aid can flow